You have probably heard your whole life that you need to be pleasant, accommodating, easy to deal with, that disappointing people is selfish, that good people do not create discomfort. They may have told you that you are too sensitive, that you overthink, that you care too much about how everyone feels. Over time, those messages settle quietly inside you. They become an internal rule you follow without noticing. Keep others comfortable and you will be safe. But the problem was never you. There was a misunderstanding about who you are, and that misunderstanding shaped the way you learned to relate to yourself. Because if your nervous system is built to notice impact, then of course you will feel tension before you speak. If your mind is built to track consequences, then of course you will hesitate when a choice might disappoint someone. The fear of disappointing others is often labeled insecurity, but that label is too small. This fear does not come from weakness. It comes from a system that is tuned to social information. Your mind is not fragile, it is precise. You operate with a level of emotional resolution that many people never develop, and that difference has been misread for a long time. Instead of too much, think high fidelity. Psychologically, your brain behaves like advanced hardware. Like a radar with higher resolution, it detects small shifts before they become obvious. Where others hear words, you sense impact. Where others see events, you sense direction forming. This is why you can walk into a room and feel the atmosphere immediately. Your system is not looking for drama, it is looking for data. And when you were taught that other people's comfort is your job, that data became a responsibility. The fear is not about being disliked. It is about being the cause of someone's emotional drop and believing you will pay for it. So you learn to scan, you learn to predict, you learn to say yes before you have checked in with yourself. You learn to apologize for needs you did not choose. And because you have empathy, you start confusing empathy with obligation. Relief comes when you see the difference. Empathy is your ability to feel, not a duty to fix. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it is a signal system. To understand this fear, it helps to see how your brain is organized around a few modules. The first is anticipation. Networks that support prediction work closely with networks that support empathy. Biologically, your nervous system runs simulations, like a computer rendering possible futures in the background. It tries to answer one question: what happens if I disappoint them? In daily life, this module shows up as rehearsal. You rewrite texts 3 times. You delay a request because you can already feel the other person's reaction. You choose the softer word, the safer time, the indirect route. The benefit is social intelligence and timing. The cost is that your body stays slightly braced, as if an event is always about to happen. The second module is emotional decoding. Your brain reads tone, facial muscles, pauses, and the tiny changes that reveal meaning. Think of a camera built for low light. It captures detail where others see blank space. This is why you notice a friend's "I'm fine" that isn't fine, or a manager's "no worries" that carries pressure. The benefit is connection and accuracy. The cost is load. You receive more input, and your mind keeps processing even after the conversation ends. The third module is adaptive regulation. When the first 2 modules run hot, your system tries to keep you safe by reducing friction. You accommodate early, like a computer lowering performance to prevent overheating. You agree before you decide. You laugh at things that hurt. You take responsibility for moods that are not yours. The benefit is short-term peace. The cost is long-term depletion and a slow loss of contact with your own internal signal. Put together, these modules create a person who is deeply aware and highly considerate, but they also create a nervous system that treats disappointment like a threat, not because you are weak, but because your system is built to prevent rupture. When the threat system joins the loop, the body reacts fast. A subtle frown can trigger a surge of alertness. Your heart rate rises. Your stomach tightens. Stress chemicals move through you, preparing you to correct, repair, restore. In a way, you become your own customer support desk, working overtime to keep the connection stable. That is why just relax never lands at any cost. Living with this configuration is harder in fast, reactive environments. Modern life is loud, crowded, and always on. Messages arrive instantly. Expectations multiply. Social feedback is constant. For a nervous system that processes deeply, this is like running high-resolution video on a laptop with no ventilation. The exhaustion you feel is not drama, it is overheating. So when you pull back, it is not a defect, it is cooling. When you go quiet, it is not punishment. It is recovery. Your system is protecting itself by reducing input. If you ignore that need, you may notice the classic signs: irritability, fog, emotional numbness, and the strange feeling of being far away from yourself. And the fear of disappointing others gets sharper in these conditions. Because your bandwidth is already stretched, the brain becomes less tolerant of uncertainty. It searches for control. It tries to avoid any reaction that might create conflict. Because conflict requires even more processing, you start managing faces, managing tones, managing outcomes. You become responsible for the weather in every room. There is also a painful misunderstanding that often follows. You assume that needing space means something is wrong with you. But needing space is a biological limit, not a moral failure. Even the best systems have capacity. A powerful engine still needs oil. A precise instrument still needs calibration. From an evolutionary view, this sensitivity was never a mistake. Groups survived because some people could sense danger early, read social tension, and anticipate ripple effects. In every community, there were individuals who noticed when trust was thinning, when aggression was rising, when someone was being excluded. Their perception helped the group adapt before damage became irreversible. They offered strategy, emotional reading, and prevention. They were the early warning system. Your fear, then, is often a distorted version of a valuable trait, the urge to keep bonds intact. The goal is not to delete that trait, but to place it in a life that respects its function. When this trait is healthy, it looks like wisdom. You pause, you notice, you choose words that reduce harm. You bring clarity where others bring heat. The same sensitivity that scares you can also guide you. It becomes quieter, cleaner, more accurate, when it is not forced to operate in constant emergency mode and when boundaries do their job. Now for the part that changes the story. The problem is not who you are. The problem is the environment that trained your system to treat disappointment as danger. In some families, love felt conditional. In some workplaces, mistakes were punished. In some relationships, someone else's mood became your responsibility. Your nervous system learned that harmony equals safety and disruption equals cost. So growth is not willpower, and it is not becoming harder. It is recalibration. Imagine a rare plant designed for filtered light. If you force it into desert sun, it does not become stronger. It becomes stressed. Its leaves curl to conserve water. In the right environment, the same plant becomes vivid and resilient. The plant does not need a new identity. It needs the right conditions. For you, conditions means boundaries, pace, and selectivity. Not walls, but filters. Boundaries reduce noise so your system can think clearly. Pace gives your prediction module time to settle. Silence lets your body drop out of alert mode. And selectivity means choosing relationships where honesty is allowed to land without catastrophe. When you protect your system, something subtle happens. You discover that disappointing others is sometimes simply the price of alignment. Some people adjust, some expectations reset, some connections fade, and what remains becomes cleaner. Your nervous system learns a new association. Truth does not automatically equal rupture. You can be steady while someone else feels temporary discomfort. If this made sense to you, you might notice a familiar habit: saying yes to prevent a reaction, then paying the cost later. In the next video, we'll explore the psychology of boundaries that feel calm, not aggressive, and how to stay connected to yourself while staying kind to others. Think of it like updating an operating system. You are not deleting empathy. You are changing the default setting that says, other people's comfort comes first. The update teaches your body that you can survive disapproval, that you can remain safe inside yourself, even when someone is disappointed. This is why practice looks small: a pause before answering, a slower reply, a truthful sentence that does not over-explain. Each moment is a new data point, showing your system that nothing collapses when you choose yourself. And over time, your fear becomes information.